It's time for Let's Get Real with your host from Bob Richards and Associates, Bob Richards.
Well, hello, Mr. Bob Richards.
Hello, Michael.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
You're looking great. I understand things are going wonderful with
Yeah.
Bob Richards and Associates.
You know what? We're staying busy, and it's hot outside, but it's hot in the business too.
That's
so
great.
things have been good. We've been blessed.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I have a feeling that we have a special guest today. Am I right?
You are absolutely right.
Wow. Oh, my gosh. There she is.
She is. Isn't this great?
This is awesome.
You don't have to look at me all this time.
Who is this person?
This is Laney Larson. Laney
Laney.
is from here
Hi.
in St. George.
Nice
I've
to
known
meet you,
her
Michael.
for many, many years, and she's a professional home organizer, Michael, and owns Making Space Southern Utah. And I thought I'd bring her on because she's just getting started with this business and is phenomenal for a variety of different people, whether they're selling or buying or just need help. So we've got some questions to answer or ask her, and I thought, well, maybe we can kind of tag team a little bit.
Oh, that'd be great. So, Laney, tell us a little bit about you. When did you realize that, number one, you're a very organized person, and you actually wanted to do this as a business? How did that happen?
Well, I love organizing, and I've helped lots of people over the years, friends and family, with different areas in their homes, and love to organize my own home. And I had some life changes that happened and needed to look for some work. I have a master's degree in nonprofit management, and I've been a fundraiser for most of my career. But I decided that I wanted to go a little different direction, and as you know, I started going in a direction, some doors closed, and I had to go back to the drawing board. And I just sat down and I thought, what skill sets do I have? And that was one of them, and I came up with a few different business ideas, and this is the one that landed. So,
wow. How long have you been doing this?
well, I've been organizing for 40 years.
Well,
Good answer. I like that answer.
so
But
she's,
I've been...
so she's got like a doctorate in
Yeah,
organization.
yeah, I would say.
This is cool.
But I've been doing it very minimally for a year, and then just the last couple of months have just launched it and trying to get it going.
That's great. I appreciate and admire your entrepreneurship and
Yeah.
the
Thank
ability to just go out there and follow the phrase, just do it. Just go make it
Oh, man.
happen.
Huge learning curve.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm pushing a train
Yeah.
to get it started. But it's starting to move, so apparently I can
That's
push
good.
trains.
Yeah.
Well, you know what you'll discover in the process of starting your own business like this? Don't tell anybody. You may actually make mistakes.
Oh,
I know.
already.
Bob never makes
No,
mistakes.
no, don't even
you
bring
and
up that word.
Yeah, but no, you
Normal people make mistakes. Bob's
just
above the cut.
persevere. So what is the unique selling point about your organization philosophy?
Well, I think that a very distinct difference between me and maybe some other organizers is the the emotional aspect that I want to understand and help people through. Our spaces are very emotional. Like, we're very emotionally affected and
Yeah.
mentally affected by the space that we live in, especially, and work in. But any space that we're spending a lot of time in affects us emotionally and mentally, and not just physically. And so I think that my philosophy really leans heavily into that, both helping people to understand that and be able to learn to manage their things, and what I'm really wanting to do is not just come in and do what I think your space should do, because that's not maybe what's going to function for you. So I really want to understand my clients. I really want to help them and have helped them to come up with systems that will work for them and work for their lifestyle, and not impose, not everybody's looking for a magazine photo home, and they just want higher function. And some people are just okay with the, what I might think is chaos. And I respect that, and everybody's at a different place, but the parts
True.
that aren't working for them are the places that I want to come in and help them. And my end goal is not just to, organize your space, but to teach you the skills to help you keep up on it and to manage it on your own. So that's what I think makes me stand out from others is this. And this is because of my nonprofit background.
Yeah.
Like I really want to help people in their lives, just, improve your life. And this is one way that, more than just an organized closet, when you have a clear space, you have a clear mind. And that's why I named my business Making Space, because we're making space for what really matters when you are eliminating what you don't need and putting order and systems to what you do want to keep. There's always more space.
Mm-hmm.
And now you've made more space for, what really matters, which is spending time on things rather than, your family and your work and your hobbies and your interests and the fun things you do and the things you need to do and don't want to do, all those things that are more important than like moving our stuff around. So when you have systems, you don't have to do that. And so, yeah.
That's good.
So I have a hypothetical question for you. So let's say, I know you've probably never experienced this, but let's say that Bob is listing my house, and Bob comes to me and goes, Michael, have you ever thought about getting this place organized? I think it might sell a little faster if we were to get it organized. And he's trying to be very tactful about the whole thing. But I am really embarrassed because my place is a mess. Bob's being very tactful and diplomatic. Has that ever happened, Bob?
Oh, boy. Absolutely.
So Bob tells me he recommends I get the house organized. But I'm kind of embarrassed. So how do you and Bob help me work through that, get me organized, help Bob sell the house, and help me so I don't feel so embarrassed that my place is a mess?
Yeah.
Great question.
That's definitely something that people face, and there are barriers to or becoming organized, and one of them is the fear of what other people are going to think of our spaces. I think that with that, if there was somebody who has like that deep fear, I think a phone call is the best place to start. And I love to be able to like hear what it is about your space that isn't working for you, your space do you like, and what do you want your end result to be. And then I can share with them what I can do and what my thoughts are around it. Sometimes I have people text me pictures, and then I can first look at it and say, this is what I do. And that may be helpful, if they like text a picture, it's a little less embarrassing maybe than having people come into your home. But I think, I like to think of myself as a person that most people like.
Well, you seem very likable and very
I'm very
organized.
friendly. I'm very non-judgmental. I have high amounts of respect for where people are at in their life. And I know that one moment in time never defines a person, And so if your life is a disaster right now, or your bedroom or your kitchen or whatever, it does not mean you're a disaster. It means that you've had life happen to you. And I mean, I've had times, if I showed you a picture of my garage 3 years ago, you'd be like, you're organized. But yeah, I'm organized, but my life was such that my garage was not. And so, I never judge a book by the cover. I know there's many millions of layers deep to all of us, and I have great respect for people.
So, Bob, when you're listing a home, what areas of the home do you find are perhaps the most disheveled or in need of organization? And then how do you and Laney work that out?
So you would think it's probably the master bedroom, the kitchen. Both are top, but oftentimes you've got kids that are with clothes everywhere on the floor and under the bed and on the bed, etc., and it just does not look good at all. And so you go to the parents and say, hey, we got to make some changes here with the kids. One of the ideas that I've done, I shouldn't say idea, but I've implemented this, is I talk to the kids and say, you know what, guys? Whoever keeps their room the cleanest during the time that we're selling your mom and dad's house, they're the judge, and whoever wins, then what I'll do is I'll have a limo pick you up, take you to whatever movie that you want to. I'll buy the popcorn and the drinks as your reward. And, Michael, I've had people that are just like made it pristine, like the Sistine Chapel inside. I mean, it just is gorgeous. And that's what I love to do, to help those little kids understand, hey, this is something maybe for the future, but also let's bring your friends, let's go have some fun after you've after you've won. And that probably brings their siblings anyway. So
that's a good idea.
But Laney
This
can
is what
come in
makes
and
Bob the best. Seriously.
it's fun. It's just creative, but it works. And yeah, definitely the kitchen and the master, the entry is such a critical area because that is your first impression. People will either walk right in and walk right out, or they know that, hey, this feels good. I want to see more.
Oh, the entry.
Yeah.
Now that you mentioned that, that makes sense. I wouldn't have thought of that. I would have thought the kitchen, or what do you find is the most in need of attention when you go into a home?
Well, I mean, Bob, correct me if I'm wrong because I'm not a realtor, but I think that when you can make the most used spaces look like there's a lot of room through a simplification of your things. So I would think the pantry would be a huge one. The kitchen with your cabinets shut, maybe it's not as big of a deal, but everybody's going to look in the pantry.
Yeah.
And if your pantry is full of stuff, it's going to look small, and pantries are huge for people right now. And then I think your other used living space would be making your living room look like it's an inviting, warm place that you want to be. And then I think you're right about a master bedroom, and specifically the closet, because people love their walk-in closets. And so if you don't have a system going on in there, I mean, that can just look like a total wreck, and also just tiny. And then those are things that will make people pause and go, I don't know. So, I mean, I think that making it feel bigger, you do that by having fewer things. And I don't recommend people getting rid of their things, but you're going to move anyway. So why not box it up, and live minimally in your home for the time that you're selling it, so that you can sell fast and get out to your new adventure.
And my top 4 things, when I talk to sellers, I say, light, space, neutral, less is more. We follow those 4 things, we'll get the home sold. Because again, you can't make a second impression. It's either one and done, or they come back a second time and a third time, and then we get an offer. But it literally takes those 4 things before that in fact happens. If any of those are missing, likelihood of the house selling has drops significantly.
Say those 4 things again. That's important.
Yeah. Light, space, neutral, less is more.
Those sound like good organization habits as well.
All 3 of those. The last 3, yes, 100% organization.
Yeah.
Light, I can't do much about.
Right, yeah.
When you walk into a room, you just light it up. So I guess
that's
he
does.
Nice. There you go.
Now we got all 4.
We got all 4. We're good to go.
That's nice.
We are good to go. So what are some organization habits that any normal person, even me, could learn to do?
Well, I have philosophies or tenets also, and one of them is less is more. So we share that one.
Okay.
I think if you can decide how much space you want a certain category to take in your life, and you limit it to that amount of space, your life's going to be so much simpler, and you can prioritize. So you have 70 blankets, but you only want them to fit in the one hall cabinet, and you can only fit 20. Well, you put your favorite 20 in there, and the rest go and make someone else happy.
Yeah. Kind of a pay it forward thing, maybe.
Yeah, and so less is more. And then another is everything has a home, and I think that that's probably the most important one, because if you can group and categorize and contain items, and they all have a specific location where they go, then every time you bring something new into the home, you know right where to put it. Or if you're like me and you're getting to the age where you're like, where did I put that thing? I know that there are 3 places where I would put that thing. And I go look in those 3 places instead of wandering the whole house, looking everywhere in every drawer. I know it's going to be in one of these 2 or 3 places. So I think everything has a home, and less is more are life-changing for stuff.
So, Bob, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So why is home organization such a powerful tool in listing and selling homes for top market value and in a timely manner?
Buyers don't want to see the seller's house. Number one, they don't care about your in-laws and outlaws photos on the wall. And in fact, that's a huge distraction. They don't care about your furniture. They don't care that this may have come over the plains with the pioneers. That's just not anything about it. They want to see their home, not the seller's house. So if there's too much cellar in that house, then the buyer can't mentally move in. It's kind of showing construction plans to most people and say, okay, we're going to build it. It's going to like this, going to like this. The door's going to be here. And people are like, huh? But when the house is done, it's like, oh, that's what you were talking about. Yeah. and so they need that visual part of things in order to really have it click as to what was being described. So I think that's a big thing that is necessary, is that make sure you're making your home no longer your home.
Is there a difference between getting organized for your daily life and being organized to get the home sold?
Yeah, I think so. That's a really good point. You look at things that I was always taught, if you haven't used it in the last year, well, it needs to go on and be blessed to somebody else. And maybe it's 2 years. I don't know. But from a standpoint of having that turnover take place, but just don't, Laney's things about three different places that her items could be. I find sellers with 7, 8, 9 places where these blankets are, or where the china is, or whatever it might be, and it's not a good fit. It just really makes a problem. And people are like, well, if this kitchen cabinet is all not very organized, what's the rest of the house going to be looking like? And what has the seller, the homeowner, not done, including not keeping things organized, that maybe there's maintenance issues that I'm going to have after buying the house that weren't disclosed or discussed that the seller potentially may have known.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
That is a good point. I would imagine that keeping the home organized, kind of getting it organized for sale and keeping it organized really helps to alleviate a lot of stress. Is that true? It's both in just living there and in trying to sell the home. It takes the stress off you.
These strangers are walking in your home and looking around, and you don't know their background, you don't know their history, you don't know if they can even buy the darn thing. Hopefully the realtor's brought in somebody qualified, but nevertheless, it's anxiety and stress, and what are they going to think, and what about this that I did, and are they going to like the pink wall, and those kind of things that is already a stressful thing. So that kind of amps that up, unless you can just feel like, come on over, give us 5 minutes, we'll be ready to go.
Okay, cool. I know that you've got a really cool home to show us.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, I want to ask Laney a question. Okay. So, Laney, what tips do you have for home buyers who are moving into a new home and they're trying to stay organized from day to day once they get into the new home?
Yeah.
I know when I moved, there was a lot of boxes, and quite frankly, there's still boxes. I mean, what are we going to do about this?
Yeah, I think if you ask yourself, what am I going to use this for, and where does it make the most sense to put it? And then you can launch from that to create a system around those items. So from the start, rather than just going, well, here's a cabinet and here's a box, and I'll shove this stuff in this cabinet, that's going to make it harder for you to even remember where things are out. But if you think, how do I use this item, or how do I use this box of items, and where would it make the most sense to put it? Then you're kind of keeping within that everything has a home tenant, and then also, Marie Kondo, a lot of people know her, and I think that's a really nice way. I'm not at all trained in that, but I think it's a really nice idea to think, how do I want this? Do I even want to keep it? And then that becomes that less is more, where you can then pass it on to somebody who can use it and love having it.
Absolutely.
Bob.
Yeah.
I see a beautiful home.
Do you see this?
Yeah, tell me about that.
Isn't this cool?
What is that? I love
this. So we're at the end of June. We just listed this a week ago, and it's a beautiful home out towards the Little Valley area in St. George. So it's kind of the southern part. If you think of the Red Cliffs LDS Temple, it's a little bit further south of there, but not too far. What I like about this, you got 4 bedrooms plus an office. And most people are only getting the 4 bedrooms, and they're wishing they had an office, so they have to use one of those bedrooms as their office. But this is really in fantastic shape. You go to the inside, and it's got all laminate flooring. There's not a speck of carpet in there.
Let's take a look at the inside there. Yeah. We can go to the next photo. Take a look at the lovely, delightful interior of the home.
Yeah.
As the arrow flies around whimsically, looking for a place to go. Oh, it disappeared.
Maybe. Okay, one
Let's
of the
look at
things
this
I
one.
like about this home
Oh, it's
also
got a
is
great
that
backyard.
if you want the farmer's market or have
Yeah.
the neighbors come over and harvest, you got everything for them. You got onions, you got strawberries, you got herbs, you got pear, apricot, peach, cherry, fig. You just have a lot of trees back there, and then in that greenhouse is where your in-ground items that would be. Strawberries just absolutely are plentiful. You go over there one day and there's a batch to pick up. You go the next day, there's another batch to pick up.
Yeah.
It's really a great thing. And so as we go to the next slide and look
Ooh.
at the layout here, it's what it's called a great room floor plan. So it opens up to the kitchen and the dining area. So if anybody wants to be part of the conversation or the great movie or the great show, they're all part of that, which is great. Also has a very nice and open kitchen to it.
Let's take a look at that.
Can
There
bring
we
that
go.
up. Yeah. So bar eating areas you can see, nice stainless appliances that are there. The door to the right is a walk-in pantry, and so it's kind of an L shape. So it's big. It's really nice in size. Very easy to maintain. It's soft closed drawers, all that good stuff. And then let's go to the next picture and kind of describe this. This is one of the master bedroom. This is we made it very simplistic, as you can see.
Yeah.
There was a lot more furniture in there, and we said, you know what, let's make this as big as we can. And so here we go. And it's worked out very well with some great comments too. Master bathroom, our next slide. That's not the master bathroom.
The
but
bathroom,
anyway.
it's got an outside
Let's hope
bathroom.
Yeah, this is just another picture of the outside with the row of trees that are there. Again, just if you like being a green thumber or want to know how to harvest and prune and etc., this is just really a great house to be able to do that.
Cool. What's next here? Oh, front
So that's
elevation.
going to be for our next home, for our next podcast. So
Oh, well, let's
we'll
come
revert
back
that
to
for
that.
another time.
Okay.
Yeah. So the price on this one, Michael, we've got it priced at $695. It has 2,532 square feet, great size, just built in 2019. 3-car garage, about a quarter-acre lot, and no HOA dues.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Where is it located?
It's located on 2811 South, 3210 East. So it's basically the cross streets would be 3000 East and 2450 South, part of St. George before you jump over to Washington.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Bob Richards of Bob Richards and Associates and Laney, thank you very much for joining us today, Bob. If somebody wants some more information on this home,
Yeah.
how can they get a hold of you?
Thanks, Michael. So I'm at Berkshire Hathaway Real Estate. My number is 435-703-UTAH, which is 435-703-8824. Call me, text me on that number. Be glad to answer any questions, set up a showing, have you take a look at it, and might be just the house for you.
Cool. And we want to remind everybody to check out Bob's Let's Get Real podcast. It's on YouTube, and it's also on all of the other major podcast channels, including Spotify, et cetera, And Bob and Laney,
Thank you.
thank you so much for being here today. And we'll see you guys again next time with another exciting adventure in Let's Get Real.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael.
This has been Let's Get Real with Bob Richards from Bob Richards and Associates. For more information, buyutah.com. We invite you to return again for another edition of Let's Get Real with Bob Richards from Bob Richards and Associates.
That's Michael at the end.
And we're out.
Aha.